or landlords refuse to rent to you based on age or race, or refuse to make reasonable accommodations, rental discrimination is illegal. In today's video, we review different types of rental discrimination and what you can do if you experience it. Hey everyone, it's Alyssa here from Bay Property Management Group. Before we get started, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the latest content for landlords, property managers, and tenants. So with that said, let's jump into today's video. Rental discrimination occurs when landlords treat potential tenants differently based on certain characteristics. For instance, it's considered discrimination if a landlord treats or behaves differently towards renters based on race, color, religion, and other protected classes. Examples of rental discrimination include charging higher fees to tenants with children, falsely denying that a rental unit is available for some tenants, or refusing to allow a service animal for a disabled tenant. However, knowing the difference between discrimination and valid business practices is essential. For instance, landlords can select tenants based on valid reasons, like requiring a minimum income or positive references. That said, landlords must set the same standards for each rental applicant. Otherwise, it could be considered rental discrimination. So what is the Fair Housing Act, and how does it impact tenants? In 1968, Congress passed the Fair Housing Act to help combat housing discrimination and unfair practices. It sets forth guidelines to prevent people from being denied fair and equal treatment while buying or renting real estate based on certain protected classes, which can vary slightly by location, such as race, color, religion, national origin, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, familial status, or disability. Rental discrimination can be blatant, but sometimes bias can materialize in more subtle ways. When it comes to selling or renting real estate, there are many actions that can be considered discriminatory and therefore illegal. Tenants could claim discrimination if landlords do any of the following based on the protected classes: refuse to rent or negotiate housing, make housing unavailable, set different terms or rates, provide different housing services or facilities, falsely deny that housing is available for rent, state or advertise a rental that indicates preference, limitation, or discrimination, use different qualification criteria for some tenants, evict a tenant or their guests, harass a tenant or rental applicant, discourage the renting of a certain unit, assign a person to a particular building, neighborhood, or section of the building, asking what your religion is before offering a rental unit, requiring that you speak English to occupy a particular dwelling, offering rentals to married couples only, or refusing to make reasonable accommodations or modifications for tenants with disabilities. It can be tricky to recognize rental discrimination in some cases. However, if you think you're being discriminated against, taking the right measures to protect yourself is crucial. So here's what to do if you think you're experiencing rental discrimination. Know the laws. There are a few exceptions to housing discrimination laws, which is important to note if you're having issues with your landlord. First, the Fair Housing Act exempts owner-occupied properties, often called a Miss Murphy exemption, generally occurring when the renters are roommates with their landlord. For instance, if your landlord only allows a single occupant in a bedroom in their home, it's not considered discrimination. This would be discriminatory against families in a standard rental home, but it's allowed under the exemption. Other exemptions include housing operated by religious groups or private clubs that limit occupancy to members only. Get state or local assistance. If you feel you're being discriminated against, the best course of action is to contact your state or local Fair Housing Commission. If you need help with whom to contact for assistance, contact the National Fair Housing Alliance in Washington, D.C., whose link is in the description below. Also, in some states, you can also file complaints with the State Division of Human Rights, so they can investigate further. While filing a federal complaint is an important course of action, seeking local assistance can be more beneficial. So in states or cities with stricter fair housing standards, you may want to pursue legal action through the state or local agencies rather than HUD or federal courts. And lastly, file a federal complaint. If local resources are ineffective or unavailable, filing an administrative complaint with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Fair Housing Equal Opportunity Office is the next step. By law, they're supposed to investigate claims within 100 days of filing. For convenience, there are a few different ways to submit a claim. For instance, you can either call the Housing Discrimination Hotline at 800-669-9777, print out and mail in a form, or file a complaint online. The consequences of rental discrimination are quite significant for landlords. If a court or housing agency finds discrimination has taken place, the consequences for landlords may include the following: paying out-of-pocket costs tenants incurred while finding alternative housing solutions, non-economic damages for humiliation, mental anguish, or psychological injuries, civil penalties of up to $16,000 for the first violation, increasing to $65,000 for the third violation. Also, civil penalties brought by the Justice Department can be up to $150,000. Keep in mind, victims of housing discrimination can file complaints up to 1 year after the incident with the HUD office or within 2 years in federal court. For more advice on a variety of other issues important to the rental industry, subscribe to the Bay Property Management Group channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exclusive content. Also, head over to our website, linked in the description below, to check out our blog with new articles uploaded daily. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up or leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.